Yo, what's up, guys? Thanks for picking my channel. You could have picked a million of them or some other YouTube video, like cats or something, but you picked me. Thank you. So yeah, right now I'm gonna go through this DVD book. Not my collection, but I'm sure I'll find a movie in there. It's worth talking about. And yeah, this is my random retro movie review. Now, by retro, I'm not talking about like a movie that was made in the 30s. Um, you know, 90s up, maybe. I don't know. It's a DVD collection, so it could be a movie that was released yesterday. I don't know. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through here. I was thinking about how to title this. Like, if I find a video, should I title the video the movie I'm reviewing? Or it kind of like loses its charm, you know. So. So there's actually a couple I want to do here, but you know, trying to think of one. You know, maybe I know a little bit about. There we go. Cool. All right, you ready? This one's been done a million times, but it's very common. I think even people that don't know the story. What the heck am I talking about? Dracula. Yeah. This is Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. See if I can get a year. 1992. Yeah, 90s, baby. Kid of the 90s. So let me put this away. Let me talk about it. Yeah, Dracula. What isn't there to talk about? What isn't there that you guys probably already know? You've all seen Dracula, or some form of Dracula in one way or another. What I like about this one is, number one, the director, Francis Ford Coppola. Does that name sound familiar? You know The Godfather? Yeah, he did that, all of them. So, I mean, he did many other films too. But Dracula, for him to pick a horror movie and add his charm to it. I mean, Apocalypse Now. If you guys are into like war movies about Vietnam, that's a great recommendation from Francis Ford Coppola. But yeah, Dracula. Winona Ryder, Gary Oldman playing Dracula. We got, see who else we got. Anthony Hopkins playing the legendary vampire slayer Van Helsing. Keanu Reeves playing Jonathan Harker. Yeah, and I could go on and on, but right, the story. Okay, so what I like about this one is it kind of doesn't start you off. You know, I mean, it starts you off in a dated time period in London and some Transylvania, which is Romania, pretty much, and it kind of goes back and forth. But what's cool, the opening shows you the history of Dracula, because Dracula was real. Me being a history lover, I love Dracula. I love the historic Dracula. Vlad Tepes Dracul, son of the dragon or the devil. Not really, but that's just his title. Anyway, he was this voivod or prince of Wallachia, which is Romania, and he was fighting the Turks. But he was so crazy. This dude was like staking people. And by that, I mean he would impale people on these long pointed tree barks or whatever it is. He would, you know, carve them out and just, you know, tell his men to impale these people from the bottom up. So yeah, just imagine that. It was a slow, painful death. He had a few runs with the Turks, scared the heck out of them, which was, you know, Turks were like, you know, the new kids on the block, you know, taking over stuff left and right. And, you know, Dracula was like, stop, no way. And he scared them. Eventually fell into battle, supposedly. They never found his body. So this movie is a romanticized version of him. So, you know, story goes that while he's out, you know, doing battle, and some Turks shoot a letter saying he died in battlefield to his wife. Wife commits suicide. He goes crazy. The priest say, oh, she committed suicide. You know, she's not worthy to go into heaven. And he's like, what? But I defended the church. And he goes nuts. And yeah, pretty much damns himself to walk eternity as a vampire, drinking blood of the innocent and all that stuff. Yada yada yada. Fast forward a little bit. So you got this guy, Jonathan Harker, who works for like the London. See how can I put it? Like if some foreign investor wants to buy up land, like that. He works for like different properties all around London, and he's taken over for a guy named Renfield, who apparently went nuts dealing with Dracula. So there's that. So he, makes the journey. He wants to marry Mina, which is like his, longtime girlfriend, who's played by Winona Ryder, and they agree to like, okay, we're gonna marry when we come back. And oh boy, what a journey! So his entire journey from London to Transylvania is like weird. I mean, he's seeing like dudes who are like dressed as like horse riders, in the carriage riders, but they're like clearly like werewolves or something. They got like a long snout, but it's all metal, like looks like a knight, pretty much. Blue flames, wolves. It's very weird. With the gypsies, If any of you've seen the Dracula movies, you know what I'm talking about. Meets Dracula. It's old dude, played by Gary Oldman, which does a killer job. I think one of the best portrayals, aside from Christopher Lee, as Dracula. But yeah, Dracula kind of like keeps him at bay in the castle. Like, he's got these like 3 succubus vampires. These 3 like hot vampire ladies that like drain him of his manly energy, keep him there. While Dracula sees a photo of Mina, Jonathan Harker's future wife, and looks a lot like Dracula's old wife. So Dracula's like, oh, well, this must be her reincarnated. I gotta go to London. And that's what he does, And somehow Jonathan Harker, sneaks away, regroups, gets the aid of famous vampire slayer, Van Helsing, and it becomes a, cat and mouse game of finding Dracula. Dracula retaliates, taking out some of their people, and they make it hard for Dracula to settle in London, yada yada yada, a lot of back and forth. Meanwhile, Mina's kind of like under his spell, and for her, it's almost too late. She got bitten and everything, and she might change. Jonathan's like, well, how could I stop my wife from changing to a vampire? And Van Helsing's like, well, we have to kill the main vampire that bit her, which is Dracula. And they go, but so that's pretty much the outline. I don't want to give away any more, but like I said, if you haven't seen any Dracula movie at this point, what's up, guys? Come on. Even Dracula Untold, I thought was pretty cool because it was like historic fiction, like it talked about the original Dracula, just mixed with the fantasy elements from Bram Stoker. Bram Stoker is the guy who wrote the book Dracula, which is the movie based on. One of the few succession stories of how a book became an excellent movie. Here's a quick note. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the movie Nosferatu, you might recognize the vampire. He's the guy that kind of like rises up. He's got like really long, creepy fingernails, bald head, fangs. His name's like Count Orlok. Anyway, long story short, so when they started making movies like in the 20s, silent films, they wanted to do Dracula, but I don't think Bram Stoker wanted to sell the rights quite yet. So they had to call Dracula something else, so they called it Nosferatu. And in the 1920s, I think it was, there was a silent film called Nosferatu, which is the same story as Dracula, just characters juggled around, different names. So many years later, the rights just get released out there. I'm not sure how, but either Bram Stoker passed away or he eventually sold the rights. And you had this slew of Hammer horror. Hammer horror, like these, British-made horror films: Wolfman, Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein, and Dracula was a big sell. That's because it was played by the late and great Christopher Lee, another actor that you guys should definitely watch his body of work if you haven't already. He's a fantastic actor. But Gary Oldman's performance in this Dracula was excellent. Like I said, the movie's great from beginning to end. The detail, the acting, I wasn't disappointed. I liked it. I'll keep going back to this film as one of my favorite Dracula films. Yes, I enjoy the Hammer horror films. I enjoy the Universal 1950s, or was it 1930s? I want to say 1930s, black and white. Bela Lugosi Dracula. That kind of like put Dracula on the map, because Nosferatu, while that was still happening, it was a silent film. I mean, how many people are into silent films? But when the Universal horror started getting around the 30s, 30s Hollywood, big sets. Come on, Dracula was a big name and a big sell. By the way, definitely check that out if you're into like old school horror stuff, black and white, and talking about. Bela Lugosi's portrayal of Dracula was really, really cool. And that's about it. That's pretty much Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula in a nutshell. If you haven't seen it already, definitely give it a peek. Check it out. Will not disappoint. Has everything in one: drama, violence. It's a love story, and a little bit of adventure in there, and some action. Great rendition of the many Draculas that are out there today. Yeah. Is there anything else I wanted to add? Oh yeah. So obviously by now there's like a ton of Blu-rays and DVDs about it, but there's a special edition Blu-ray that was released recently. It's got commentary on it, which I think you should definitely listen to. I believe it's just Coppola, the director, discussing things, and it's been a while since I listened to the commentary, but I'm pretty sure it's just him and maybe other people attached to the film, given their story of how the film was created, the design, because it was very unique. Dracula, even though it's been done before, this rendition of Dracula stands out, I think. And yeah, hands down, great film. Totally recommend it. And if you could, if you want to own it, definitely seek out the DVD. If you watch it already, watch the commentary. Watch the film on the commentary. It's kind of fun too. It's a good way to revisit certain movies. Or stream it. I'm sure it's already available anywhere. So, no excuse. All right, guys. Well, that's my film review of 1992's Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. And yeah, like I said, definitely recommend it. Check it out if you can. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay healthy and be safe. Oh, and they're telling the truth. Don't text and drive. It's bad. Come on. All right, guys.